Right then, Blades fans, massive news coming out of Bramall Lane today, and trust me, you're going to want to hear every single word of this. We've got 3 breaking stories that could genuinely shape the rest of our season, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this could be the difference between a playoff push and mid-table mediocrity. So if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button right now, because we're the fastest source for Sheffield United news and analysis, and we've got thousands of Blades fans already in the community. Hit that like button as well. It genuinely helps us reach more supporters, and we're all in this together, aren't we? Right? Let's get into it, because we've got a confirmed loan signing, transfer speculation heating up, and some serious squad depth concerns that Chris Wilder needs to address immediately. 3 stories, all breaking, all crucial. Let's go. It's official, Blades fans, and this one's been confirmed by multiple sources. Sheffield United have secured the loan signing of Key-Jana Hoever from Wolverhampton Wanderers for the remainder of the 2025-26 season. Now this is massive for us, and I'll tell you exactly why in just a moment, but first let's talk about why we desperately needed this signing in the first place. Cast your minds back to the summer transfer window. We brought into Hith Chong and Chidozie Ogbene to provide quality and pace down that right flank to solid signings on paper, both with Premier League and Championship experience, both capable of causing problems for opposition defenses. But here's the brutal reality. Injuries have absolutely decimated our options in that position. Chong's been in and out of the treatment room. Ogbene struggled with fitness issues, and suddenly we're looking dangerously thin on the right side of our attack. Chris Wilder's been forced to shuffle the pack, playing players out of position, asking midfielders to cover wide areas, and it's just not sustainable, is it? You can't compete for a playoff spot when you're patching holes every single week. So enter Key-Jana Hoever, 26 years old, Dutch international at youth level, and a player who's had a fascinating career trajectory. Now some of you might remember him from his time at Liverpool, where he was highly rated. As a teenager, Wolves paid serious money for him back in 2020. We're talking millions for a prospect they believe could develop into a Premier League regular. It hasn't quite worked out that way at Molineux, has it? He spent most of his time out on loan, had spells at PSV Eindhoven where he got European experience, then to consecutive seasons at Stoke City in the Championship. And actually, that 2023-24 campaign at Stoke was genuinely impressive. 44 appearances, 4 goals, 5 assists from right back or right wing back. Those are outstanding numbers for a defender who's also contributing in the final third. Last season, he was loaned to Auxerre in France, got some League One experience under his belt. Different style of football, different tactical demands. He came back to Wolves in the summer with genuine hopes of forcing his way into their first team plans. But then the managerial change happened, and suddenly he's found himself frozen out. That's football, isn't it? New manager comes in, has different ideas, different preferences, and sometimes talented players get caught in the crossfire. Wolves' loss is potentially our gain here. And this isn't just about plugging a gap in the squad. Hoever brings genuine quality and versatility to our defensive and attacking setups. Primarily he's a right back, but he can play as a right wing back in a back 5. He can push forward as a traditional winger, and he's even capable of slotting in as a right-sided center back if needed. That flexibility is gold dust for Chris Wilder, because it gives him tactical options he simply hasn't had recently. We can switch formations mid-game. We can adjust our approach depending on the opposition, and we've got someone who understands both the defensive responsibilities and the attacking demands of that right flank. Now let's talk about what this means for our squad depth, because it's been a genuine concern. Right now, Femi Siriki is basically our only natural right back who's fit and available. Japhet Tanganga can play there in a pinch, but Wilder's been using him more centrally, and you can see why. That's where he's most effective. Ben Godfrey came in on loan from Atalanta in the summer and looked like he could be a real asset, but injuries absolutely ruined his time here, and he's already gone back to Italy. So we were genuinely one injury away from a crisis situation on that right side. Hoever changes that immediately. He's experienced. He's played at this level before. He knows what championship football demands, and he's hungry to prove himself after being sidelined at Wolves. But here's the thing that excites me most about this signing. When you look at his best form at Stoke 2 seasons ago, he was a genuine attacking threat. 4 goals and 5 assists from a defensive position tells you he's not just sitting back and defending. He's getting forward. He's delivering quality crosses. He's arriving in the box at the right moments. That's exactly what we need from our fullbacks in Wilder's system, isn't it? We need them to provide width, stretch the opposition, create overloads in wide areas, and give our attackers more space to operate. If Hoever can replicate even 70 or 80% of that Stoke form, we've got ourselves a player who could genuinely impact our season. So what's the immediate impact here? Well, first and foremost, it takes pressure off the lads who've been covering that position when they're not natural. Right backs. It allows Wilder to pick his best 11 in their best positions, rather than constantly shuffling the deck. Second, it gives us a proper attacking outlet on the right, which we've been missing with all the injuries. Teams have been overloading our left side because they know we're not as dangerous on the right at the moment. Hoever changes that equation. And third, it shows ambition from the club, doesn't it? We're 9 points off the playoff places right now, sitting 16th in the table, and some clubs in our position might be thinking about consolidating, playing it safe, looking towards next season. But we're still fighting, still bringing in players who can make a difference, and that's got to be encouraging for everyone connected with Sheffield United. The timing couldn't be better either. We've got a massive run of fixtures coming up in January and February that could define our season. After the FA Cup tie against Mansfield Town, we're traveling to Charlton Athletic. Then we've got a tricky away day at Southampton, who are struggling themselves but still dangerous. Then come the real tests. Ipswich Town at Bramall Lane. They're flying high and pushing for automatic promotion. That's going to be brutal. And we finish the month with a trip to Millwall, who are sitting pretty in the playoff zone. These are the games where we find out if we're genuine contenders or just making up the numbers. Having Hoever available for those matches could be absolutely crucial. Now I want to hear from you. A lot, because this is where the community comes in. Do you think Key-Jana Hoever is the right signing for us? Can he replicate his best form from that Stoke season? And more importantly, is one right back enough, or should we be looking at more reinforcements before the window closes? Get down in the comments right now and let me know what you're thinking. And while you're down there, hit that like button, because we're building something special with this channel, and your engagement genuinely helps us grow. Cheers for that, right? Story number 2, and this one's got real potential to be something special. According to reports from Sportsboom and other sources, Sheffield United are seriously considering a move for Smallbone, the 25-year-old midfielder who's currently on loan at Millwall from Southampton. Now, this isn't the first time we've been linked with Smallbone, is it? There was interest before, speculation about a move to Bramall Lane that never quite materialized, but it looks like Chris Wilder is going back in for another look, and I can see exactly why this makes sense for us. Let me give you the background on Smallbone, because he's a proper talent when he's fit. Came through the academy at Southampton, local lad, worked his way up through the youth ranks and established himself as a versatile midfielder who can play box to box or in a more advanced role. He's represented the Republic of Ireland 15 times at international level, which tells you the quality we're talking about here. He's not some unproven youngster. He's got proper pedigree and experience at the highest levels of English football. This season he joined Millwall on loan looking for regular game time because, let's be honest, Southampton are in a mess, aren't they? They're struggling in the Premier League, managerial uncertainty, squad unrest. The whole thing's a bit of a shambles. Smallbone probably looked at the situation and thought a loan move to a competitive championship side would be better for his development than fighting for scraps in a relegation battle. Makes sense, doesn't it? Get games, build confidence, show what you can do in a team that's actually functioning properly. But here's where it gets complicated. Since October, Smallbone's been dealing with an injury that's kept him sidelined at Millwall. He's been in treatment, working on his recovery, but he hasn't featured for the Lions in months now. Now you might think that would put us off, that we'd look at his injury record and decide it's too risky. But according to the reports, we're still very much interested, and here's why. The club apparently believes that Southampton might be willing to accept a lower fee at the end of the season precisely because of these injury concerns. It's a gamble, isn't it? We're potentially getting a cut price deal on a player who, when fit, could be exactly what we need in that midfield. But this is crucial. Smallbone's going to have to prove his fitness over the coming months at Millwall. We're not going to commit to anything without seeing him back on the pitch, playing competitive football and showing that his body can handle the demands of championship football. That makes perfect sense from our perspective. Why would you spend money on a player who might spend half the season in the treatment room? We've already had enough injury problems this year, haven't we? The last thing we need is to bring in someone who's going to add to that burden. Let's talk about what Smallbone would bring to the team if he could stay fit, because the potential here is genuinely exciting. He's a midfielder who can do a bit of everything. He's comfortable on the ball, good technical ability, can pick a pass, gets forward to support attacks, but also puts in the defensive work that Wilder demands from his midfielders. He's the kind of player who can control the tempo of a game, who can transition play from defense to attack quickly, and who can chip in with goals and assists from midfield. We've been crying out for that kind of quality in the middle of the park, haven't we? Someone who can link the play, create chances, break up opposition attacks, and provide that extra bit of class. The other thing that stands out about Smallbone is his versatility. He can play as a 6 in a deeper role, shielding the defense and recycling possession. He can play as an 8 in a more traditional box-to-box role, covering ground, supporting attacks. And he can even push forward as a 10 if needed, getting in those pockets of space between the lines and creating chances for the forwards. That flexibility is massive for Wilder because it means we're not locked into one system or one approach. We can adapt based on the opposition, based on how the game's going, and Smallbone gives us options to change things up. Now let's be realistic about the situation we're in as a club. We're 16th in the championship, 9 points off the playoffs with a lot of football still to play. If we don't make the playoffs this season, and that's looking increasingly likely unless we put together an incredible run, then we're going to need to rebuild in the summer. That means identifying the right players now, doing the groundwork, making sure we're ready to strengthen properly when the window opens. Smallbone fits that profile perfectly. He's the right age, he's got championship and international experience. He knows the English game, and if we can get him for a reasonable fee, it's the kind of smart business that sets you up for a promotion push the following season. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. January is the priority right now. We've already brought in Hoever to solve our right back situation, and that's a good start. But we need more, don't we? The squad's still too thin in certain areas. We're 1 or 2 injuries away from real problems, and if we're serious about making a late push for the playoffs, we need to add quality and depth. Whether Smallbone is part of that January business or summer target, we'll have to wait and see. The reports suggest we're looking at the end of the season, but things can change quickly in football, can't they? If Southampton want to cash in early, if his recovery goes better than expected, maybe we move sooner. We'll have to see how it develops. The other factor here is Southampton's situation. They're in financial trouble. They're struggling on the pitch. They might need to sell players to balance the books. That could work in our favor. If they're desperate for cash, if they want to move Smallbone on and recoup some money, we could be in a strong negotiating position. But that's all speculation at this point. What we know for certain is that we're interested. We're monitoring the situation, and Chris Wilder rates him as a player. Here's my take on it. And it's a big if Smallbone can prove his fitness, get back playing regularly for Millwall, and show he's over his injury problems, then this could be brilliant business for Sheffield United. We're talking about a 25-year-old international midfielder with real quality, potentially available at a reduced price because of injury concerns. That's exactly the kind of calculated risk that can pay off massively. But if he can't stay fit, if the injuries keep recurring, then we need to walk away and find alternatives. We can't afford to gamble our budget on players who spend more time in the physio room than on the pitch. So over to you Blades fans. What do you reckon? Is Will Smallbone worth the risk given his injury history? Would you rather we spent the money on someone who's fit and available right now? Or do you think the potential reward justifies taking a chance on him? I genuinely want to know what you're thinking, so get in the comments and let's have a proper discussion about this. And if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with other Sheffield United fans. We're all in this together, and the more people we can get talking about these issues, the better. Cheers for that. Right then, story number 3, and this is where we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, because January is absolutely crucial for Sheffield United, and the decisions we make this month could determine whether we're fighting for promotion or planning for another season in the championship. We've talked about Key-Jana Hoever coming in. We've discussed the Will Smallbone speculation. But what else needs to happen before the window slams shut? What are the priorities? Where are the gaps in the squad? And most importantly, do we genuinely believe we can make a playoff push, Or are we already thinking about next season? Let's start with the brutal reality of where we are right now. 16th in the championship table, 9 points away from the playoff places, and that gap feels even bigger. When you look at the quality of the teams above us, we've got sides like Ipswich Town who are flying, teams with momentum, teams with confidence, teams who look like they belong in those top 6 spots. We're not there yet, are we? The start of the season under Ruben Sells was an absolute disaster. Results were terrible. Performances were worse. It left Chris Wilder with a mountain to climb when he came back for his 3rd spell in charge. He steadied the ship, no question about that. But we're still playing catch up and time's running out. 9 points doesn't sound insurmountable, does it? A couple of good wins, other results going our way, and suddenly we're right back in the mix. But here's the problem. We need consistency that we simply haven't shown this season. We need to go on a proper run, 5 or 6 wins on the bounce, really build some momentum and belief in the squad. And to do that, we need the squad to be strong enough to cope with the demands of championship football. 46 games of the season, games every few days, injuries piling up, suspensions, all of it takes its toll. If your squad's too thin, if you're relying on the same 11 or 12 players week after week, eventually it catches up with you and your form falls off a cliff. So what are the priorities for the rest of January? Well, we've already addressed the right back situation with Hoever, but let's be honest, we need more than that, don't we? Central midfield is still a concern. We need players who can control games, who can break up play, who can drive forward with the ball and create chances. If Smallbone happens this month rather than the summer, fantastic, but we might need to look at other options as well. What about striking options? Are we confident that our current forwards can score the goals we need to climb the table? I'm not so sure. We need someone who can guarantee 15 or 20 goals between now and May. Someone who can be clinical in front of goal and take the pressure off everyone else. Defensive depth is another issue. We've already lost Ben Godfrey back to Atalanta after his injury-plagued loan spell. And while Hoever can cover at right back, what happens if we get injuries to our center backs? Do we have enough bodies to rotate the squad and keep everyone fresh? These are the questions Chris Wilder and the recruitment team need to be asking themselves right now, because the answers determine whether we're genuine playoff contenders or just making up the numbers. But here's the thing that frustrates me about our situation. We're Sheffield United. We're a massive club with incredible supporters, a fantastic stadium, and a history of competing at the highest level. We shouldn't be scrapping around in mid-table in the championship, should we? We should be pushing for promotion, fighting for a return to the Premier League, and giving our fans something to really get excited about. But that requires investment. It requires ambition from the ownership, and it requires getting the recruitment right. 1 or 2 poor signings and you're stuck in this division for years. 1 or 2 brilliant signings and you're back in the big time. It's that fine a margin. The fixtures coming up are going to tell us everything we need to know about this squad. Charlton Athletic away, that's winnable. We should be going there and getting 3 points. Southampton away is trickier. They're struggling, but they've still got Premier League quality in that squad, and they'll be desperate for points themselves. Then Ipswich at home, that's a massive test. They're one of the best teams in the division. They'll come to Bramall Lane full of confidence, and we need to show we can compete with the top sides. And then Millwall away to finish the month. Another tough game against a side who are comfortable in the playoff zone. If we can come through January with 3 or 4 wins from those games, suddenly the playoff picture looks very different. But if we stumble, if we drop points in games we should be winning, then the gap becomes too big to close. The other factor we can't ignore is Chris Wilder himself. This is his 3rd spell at the club. He knows Sheffield United inside out. He knows what it takes to get promoted from this division because he's done it before. The fans trust him, the players respond to him, and there's a real sense that if anyone can drag us up the table, it's Wilder. But even the best managers need the right tools to work with. He needs backing in the transfer market. He needs the board to support his vision, and he needs the squad depth to implement his tactics properly. If we give him those things, I genuinely believe we can make a late charge for the playoffs. If we don't, we're setting ourselves up for another season of frustration. So here's my final thought on this whole situation. January isn't just about this season anymore. It's about setting ourselves up for the future. Even if we don't make the playoffs this year, the moves we make now could be the foundation for a promotion push next season. Smart recruitment, bringing in the right characters, building a squad that can compete over a full 46-game season. That's what matters. Hoever is a good start. Smallbone could be a brilliant addition if it happens, and hopefully we're not done yet. There's still 3 weeks left in the window and a lot can change. But I want to hear from you because you're the ones who turn up week after week, home and away, supporting this club through thick and thin. Do you think we can still make the playoffs this season? What positions do we desperately need to strengthen before the window closes? And are you confident that the club's making the right moves, or do you think we're missing opportunities? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one, and I love hearing what you all think. This is your club as much as anyone's, and your voice matters. Right, Blades fans? That's where we are. 3 massive stories. Key-Jana Hoever confirmed and joining the squad, while Smallbone speculation heating up for a potential summer move, and the bigger picture of where this club's heading in January and beyond. It's an absolutely crucial month for Sheffield United, and the decisions we make now could shape not just this season, but next season as well. We need ambition, we need smart recruitment, and we need to back Chris Wilder properly, because if we do, I genuinely believe we can turn this around. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. It means the world that you're part of this community and supporting the channel. Do me a massive favor, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on the notifications so you never miss an update, and share this video with other Blades fans who need to stay in the loop. We're growing every single day, and it's all thanks to you lot. Drop a comment down below with your thoughts on any of these stories. I'll be reading through them all and jumping into the discussion. Massive month ahead for Sheffield United, massive opportunities, and we'll be here covering every single development as it happens. Up the Blades, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.